Hello and welcome to Little Known Moments in Black History. Today's episode is entitled, Distracted by a Rumor. You know, God is all about salvation and saving people, and He has many weapons in His arsenal that He uses to save them. One such weapon is distraction. In this episode, we'll again consider one of the many incidents in the Bible that point to the large presence of Africans and blacks operating in and throughout biblical history. We'll consider how God used black Africans to distract the enemies of His people from capturing and destroying Jerusalem. We'll set the stage with excerpts from the book of 2 Kings, chapters 18 and 19.
In the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 29 years. His mother's name was Abijah, daughter of Zechariah. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father David had done, and the Lord was with him. He was successful in whatever he undertook. He rebelled against the king of Assyria and did not serve him. From watchtower to fortified city, he defeated the Philistines as far as Gaza and its territory. In the 14th year of King Hezekiah's reign, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, attacked all the fortified cities of Judah and captured them.
This is what Hezekiah was confronted with. Historians call Assyria an empire that was built on blood, tribute, and terror. Deadliest of all Mesopotamian armies to sweep through the ancient world were the Assyrians. In the Bible, they are the ultimate symbol of bloody tyranny and ruthless oppression. They were fierce masters of the art of war. The Assyrians were ruled by despotic kings. They believed in absolute power. Absolute power means control. This kind of power is kept in power by military efficiency and might, and the Assyrians maintained an enormously powerful and efficient war machine.
So Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent this message to the king of Assyria at Lachish.
I have done wrong. Withdraw from me, and I will pay whatever you demand of me.
The king of Assyria exacted from Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. So Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the temple of the Lord and in the treasuries of the royal palace. At this time, Hezekiah, king of Judah, stripped off the gold with which he had covered the doors and doorposts of the temple of the Lord, and gave it to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria sent his supreme commander, his chief officer, and his field commander with a large army from Lachish to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem. They came up to Jerusalem and stopped at the aqueduct of the upper pool on the road to the washerman's field. They called for the king and Eliakim, son of Hilkiah, the palace administrator, Shebna, the secretary, and Joah, son of Asaph, the recorder, went out to them. The field commander said to them,
Tell Hezekiah, this is what the great king, the king of Assyria, says. On what are you basing this confidence of yours? You say you have the counsel and the might for war, but you speak only empty words. On whom are you depending that you rebel against me?
When King Hezekiah heard this, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and went into the temple of the Lord. He sent Eliakim, the palace administrator, Shebna the secretary, and the leading priests, all wearing sackcloth, to the prophet Isaiah, son of Amos. When King Hezekiah's officials came to Isaiah, Isaiah said to them,
Tell your master, this is what the Lord says. Do not be afraid of what you have heard.
those words with which the underlings of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me? Listen, when he hears a certain report, I will make him want to return to his own country, and there I will have him cut down with the sword.
Now Sennacherib received a report that Tirhakah, the king of Kush, was marching out to fight against him.
Did you hear that? Tirhakah, king of Kush. Remember, the land of Kush is in Africa, and the Kushites, including Tirhakah, were direct descendants of Kush, son of Ham. So, who was this black African king that God used to distract Sennacherib with a rumor away from Jerusalem? Tirhakah was a pharaoh of the 25th dynasty of Egypt and king of the kingdom of Kush, present-day Sudan, from 690 to 664 BC. He was one of the Ethiopian pharaohs who ruled over Egypt for nearly a century. Although his reign was filled with conflict with the Assyrians, it was also a prosperous Renaissance period in Egypt and Kush. The empire flourished agriculturally, intellectually, and materially under his leadership. His inscriptions indicate that his kingdom contained large quantities of gold. Religion, the arts, and architecture also flourished during his reign. According to historians, under Tirhakah, the cultural integration of Egypt and Kush reached such a point that it could not be reversed even after the Assyrian conquest. So much for the New Hamitic hypothesis, which claims that black Africans did not contribute anything meaningful to ancient civilization or biblical history, and that the only meaningful contribution came from the white descendants of Ham, who invaded Egypt or who were already living there in the land that was originally peopled by blacks, who they said were cursed with black skin, ignorance, and servitude. So, how significant was this distraction in the grand scheme of things? Well, it was ancient Assyria's policy to disperse the people of a captured territory individually or in small groups to other areas in their territory, and to mix them in with other captured people in order to erase their identity and keep them under control. They did this with the 10 northern tribes of Israel in 722 BC when they conquered their territory. The identity of those 10 tribes was compromised, lost. Had God allowed Assyria to conquer Jerusalem, they would have suffered the same fate. Now, it is true that years after this incident, Judah was taken into captivity by the Babylonians. However, they were not dispersed, and the promise of the Messiah coming through the tribe of Judah proceeded unaltered. Imagine that, a rumor of a powerful black African pharaoh being used as an instrument in God's plan to save his people. This little-known moment in black history is brought to you by the Brotherhood of Greater St. John Missionary Baptist Church.